So the Supreme Court has already taken some of our constitutional rights away from us, and they're preparing to take more. And they will, if we let them. So what say we don't let them? Let's talk about that. Because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So let's talk about the parade of horribles, the truly horrific Supreme Court cases that have been decided recently. And then let's talk about what we can expect from the Supreme Court in the future if we continue to let them run roughshod over the American people completely unchecked. And then let's finish up with what we can do about it. But let's start with a trio of religiously inspired Supreme Court decisions, and we have to start with Roe v. Wade being overturned because the Supreme Court revoked the constitutional privacy rights of women. The Supreme Court decided they're the ones who get to decide. If a woman takes a pregnancy to term, they have determined that women will take pregnancies to term without their consent and over their objection. And that obviously has deep religious underpinnings. They're not fooling anyone. And I'm not going to boo-hoo for the men, but they're also forcing men to become fathers against their will, perhaps without their consent. And those men, once they're fathers, will have to bear the responsibility as well. Let's be clear, this most directly impacts women, but men should also be up in arms because the responsibility that comes with fatherhood will either be taken on voluntarily or perhaps forced by a court for deadbeat fathers. But the Supreme Court has made all of these decisions for the women and for the men. Another religious decision, our tax dollars will now pour into religious schools because the Supreme Court decided it would be so. And yet another religious decision, a decision that I would say is de facto, in fact, coercive of school prayer, coercive of our children. How so? Well, the Supreme Court said that coaches and teachers can lead prayer on public property, on school grounds. And how will that make all of the students and the athletes feel if they don't join in with their coach or their teacher to pray? Maybe they don't share the coach's religion. Maybe they're not religious at all. Maybe they do share the coach's religion, but they're not interested in making a splashy public display of their worship. So with this trio of religious cases, it's clear that this Supreme Court, 6 of the justices who are making these religious decisions for everybody, are basically, of the opinion that our Constitution is little more than a codicil to the Bible. But they didn't stop there. Let's continue to watch the floats go by on the parade of horribles. They also watered down or took away altogether the remedies that a suspect who is arrested and whose Miranda rights are violated by the police, took away the remedies that suspect has for the violation of his or her Miranda rights. They also sanctioned political redistricting that disenfranchises minority voters. They've also chosen to decide cases to help destroy our environment, and I mean both climate and the safety of our neighborhoods, because more concealed carry, more gun violence. The states have no right to protect their own citizens. And friends, I don't even want to get started on the fact that in the upcoming term, the next term, they're going to be reviewing a case called Moore versus Harper. And what they'll give states the opportunity to do there is they will give state legislatures, I predict, complete, unfettered, unreviewable authority to set all election laws. They call this by a fancy name, the independent state legislature doctrine. They should call it what it really is, the fake elector doctrine, because they are on the cusp, the Supreme Court, of telling states that whatever the state legislature says about who they want to install as the winner of an election, notwithstanding the popular vote, is unreviewable, including by the state court in that state. So this would basically be the Supreme Court giving the thumbs up to a Donald Trump-like coup, fake electors in the future. It used to be that the vice president's role in certifying the election's results was ceremonial, just opening envelopes. We all knew what the electoral college count was. This was a ceremony. But the Supreme Court wants to make voting the ceremonial part, where it really doesn't matter. It's more what the state legislature says about who won. Because, maybe in the gut of some of the Republican legislatures, they think there was some fraud. So to heck with the popular vote, Supreme Court said, we get to decide. That is what Moore versus Harper has in store for us in the future. What can we do about it? Well, a couple of things. We can open impeachment hearings. I know what you're saying. Impeachment hearings don't guarantee us that any Supreme Court justice will actually be impeached. That's true. But consider this. Judges who were nominated by President Trump and some earlier Republican presidents, judges who were nominated to the Supreme Court testified under oath at their confirmation hearings. In the back of their minds, here's what they knew. Gorsuch, Alito, Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, Thomas, Roberts. Here's what they knew in the back of their minds. I am going to overturn Roe v. Wade at the earliest opportunity. The first minute I get, I'm going to vote to overrule it. I'm going to take away women's constitutional privacy rights. No more abortions. I get to make that decision. That's what each one of these judges had in the back of their minds. And then they were placed under oath at their confirmation hearings. And what did they say? Madam Senator, Mr. Senator, Roe v. Wade is settled precedent. It's been reaffirmed several times over. It's entitled to respect. That's very important. Knowing in the back of their minds that was bull, that they were going to overturn it the minute they had a chance. What is that? That's deception. That's evasion. That's misdirection. I would call it a lie. Is it provable perjury? Not sure. Does it warrant opening impeachment hearings to investigate it? If we don't do that, folks, then we are simply giving away our constitutional rights because we're not fighting for them. We're letting deceptive, conniving, lying, religiously motivated justices take those rights away from us. So we open an impeachment inquiry. And you know what we do? First of all, we expose what they said under oath and compare it to the opinion they just signed on to, because those two things are inconsistent. But more importantly, we subpoena everybody they talked to in the run-up to their confirmation testimony, because I forgot one justice, didn't I? Kavanaugh. Do you really think Kavanaugh, behind closed doors, speaking with some of his buddy senators, wasn't a little bit more loose with his lips about what he really thought about Roe versus Wade? Don't worry, Senator. I got this. I know the right things to say in the confirmation hearing, but I got this. You investigate that. You open an impeachment inquiry, and there are some who will say, wait. That doesn't guarantee that the House will draft up articles of impeachment. And even if the House does, it doesn't guarantee that those articles of impeachment will pass in the House. And even if they do pass, it doesn't guarantee that the Senate, at a trial on those articles of impeachment, will convict and remove the lying justices, the justices who just revoked our constitutional rights and are looking to revoke more of them. They've signaled that. And that's true. Nothing is guaranteed. The outcome is not certain. But can we draw a parallel for a minute between the importance, the necessity of an impeachment inquiry, an investigation, public hearings, and what we're now experiencing with the January 6th House Select Committee public hearings? Because up front, before they opened, people said, well, January 6th committee hearings don't guarantee any result. I mean, the House can't even prosecute people. They can refer people for prosecution, but there's no guarantee the Department of Justice will prosecute people when we see the evidence presented by the J6 committee, all of which is true. But friends, how important has it been for those public hearings to be held? How important is it for us to see with our own eyes the crimes of Donald Trump and Mark Meadows and John Eastman and Jeffrey Clark? And we're about to see more. Rudy Giuliani and Roger Stone and Mike Flynn and Steve Bannon and the members of Congress who were begging for pardons because they committed crimes to assist Donald Trump in corruptly overturning the election's results, and they knew the only way they could get away with those crimes is if their co-conspirator Donald Trump pardoned them. How important has this transparency been? It's a hearts and minds campaign in part. We need to know this so we can make decisions in an informed way for ourselves moving forward as part of this political process. Impeachment hearings would be just as important, regardless of whether the outcome is uncertain. It has to be done, because if it's not done, you're rewarding the judges who deceived the Senate and deceived the American people and then revoked our rights. You're rewarding them, and you're giving them permission to do it again in the next term, the next Supreme Court term. You know, I'm reminded of a political slogan that people of a certain age will remember, and it pops up from time to time when inflation is high and we're in an election cycle. I never liked it because it sounds uncivil and even a little vulgar. But remember the saying, the political slogan, "It's the economy, stupid." Anytime there's inflation around an election cycle, it's the economy, stupid. Well, in 2022, it's the democracy, stupid. It's our democracy. And if we don't fight for it, and if we don't fight for our constitutional rights by doing something that is entirely within the power of Congress, opening impeachment inquiries so the American people can see for themselves the lies of these judges under oath and behind closed doors, then we're giving it all away. And we should be prepared to give more of our constitutional rights away, because the court has already signaled that's where it's going. It's time to fight. It's time to fight. And it will always be time to vote and vote and vote. because another remedy is increasing the number of Supreme Court justices, which should have been done a long time ago, just to norm for population and to norm for the 13 judicial districts. We should have at least 13 justices. We've increased trial court federal judges, appellate court federal judges, and over our nation's history, the number of Supreme Court justices has fluctuated. Low of 5, high of 10. It's been changed a number of times. Yes, it's going to take a supermajority in Congress to do it, but we can get there. We can get to a supermajority in Congress, and this may be our last opportunity to do it before the Supreme Court takes our right to vote away from us too, courtesy of Moore versus Harper. It's all on the line. So what say we do it? What say we open an impeachment inquiry and expose to the American people what these lying judges did in their zeal to be confirmed to the Supreme Court so they could do the exact opposite of what they said they would do? They deceived us. Under oath, they deceived us. We've got our work cut out for us, friends, but we've got to vote, vote, vote in numbers, too big to rig and too real to steal before even our vote is taken away from us and converted into a ceremonial exercise, going to the polls. But your vote doesn't really count because now it's up to the state legislatures and they will have unreviewable discretion. There's still time, but not much. Not much. So let's get after it, because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.